I've already gone through 2 of my binders, and this is the 3rd of the 4 that I have that I keep my personal collection in. This starts with Special Edition, so kind of Star Wars CCG 2.0. It even said so on the glossary and rulebook, but you could still use all the old cards, but a lot of new rule changes and a lot of mechanics that were added to the game that made it pretty different. Probably my favorite, Obi-Wan, just being able to return somebody to the site who's been lost. But yeah, the first full set with a new Obi-Wan and the first full set with a new Vader since premiere. Finally, a wedge that can match directly with his snowspeeder. The other one was okay, but this is definitely a lot better with his snowspeeder. And as you might believe from the title, with Special Edition, a lot of the characters that didn't appear in the original theatrical trilogy but were later on added. And this is probably if you saw my previous video, I had 3 rare cards first, 3 main cards be my first mains to get, and I got her in a Special Edition pack. Must have been 1998, could have been 1999, I'm not really sure, but my dad got me a few Special Edition packs and a Death Star, just a Death Star card, and one of the packs was Princess Organa, so she was in every single light side deck I made, and from then on out for probably a couple of years. But another big set just like Premiere. This Han just got a bit of a boost with a virtual card, sneaking around on the Death Star. But one of my favorite things of Special Edition was these company cards. So different companies that made different ships or vehicles, giving bonuses to those. So freighters get a bonus from this card, and later on we'll see, right here. So Y-Wings get a bonus from their manufacturing company, and X-Wings and all the other Incom Corporation stuff. Being able to cancel force drains by placing a non-unique card on there. And the celebration cards were a big deal too, so in continuing with what they did in Premiere, where the light side tries to avoid force loss and the dark side tries to make extra force loss for the most part, Tatooine Celebration helps you retrieve cards, and the dark side had one that made you lose cards for spreading out and occupying battleground sites. So I always liked those, just in terms of the ideas that were behind them, in terms of conceptually what was going on, what was trying to be represented, plus trying to get players to interact more with each other instead of just hunkering down at sites and drain racing. That's fun sometimes, but I wouldn't want that to be every game. So more interactive games are a lot of fun. A lot of cool new sites. A lot of 2-1s too. Those are a lot of fun to have. So they give you icons, but they also give your opponent icon, and a lot of the stuff that the virtual card Players Committee has done has gotten battleground sites easier to get out for people, so encouraging more interaction. Objectives. I didn't play too many objectives back in the day, back when I first started collecting, just because I didn't have any of the cards, enough cards to make any of them work, but I did love doing matching X-Wings and matching Y-Wings on their pilots. That was always fun. Even if I was raining for one each time, I still had the proper pilot on his X-Wing or Y-Wing, and these are some of the coolest shots of ships on any cards. Summer Camp Counselor of mine had a sand speeder deck. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but he put a lot of sand speeders on, I think it was sand speeders and operatives, and then he would use T-47 battle formation. I think that works, but this is me trying to remember something that was probably 23 years ago, but apparently he did pretty well with it, and that was when I first kind of got an idea of what kind of decks could be built when you had specific cards you put in them rather than just whatever you had sitting in your shoebox. A new Boba Fett. which I guess ironically happened before the Boba Fett that happened in the movies before the Boba Fett that came out in Cloud City afterwards, if that makes any sense. The new Vader. Anything in the Carbonite Chamber looks cool. It was almost too easy to pick card images if you had somebody that was in the Carbonite Chamber. Not that I hold that against them for picking him. A Jabba that I can't seem to use for anything, and he doesn't exist in any format anymore unless maybe you have the actual original special edition, the 1998 VHS tapes, because they kind of went back and forth with him a few times. So that's an interesting story. And how to make sure that Han could walk around Jabba. They had him step on his tail, which is pretty innovative stuff, but I don't know, I'm not one to complain about the special edition changes so much, especially since now I've forgotten a lot of what it was like before then. It's kind of hard to use him. He's kind of the only member of his squadron in terms of having other pilots. I mean, I know there's starships that have permanent pilots, but he does seem pretty powerful, adding a battle destiny at a cloud sector, and adding 3 to power any TIE he pilots, making that TIE immune to attrition less than 6 if it's Obsidian 10, which didn't come out till later. We'll probably see him in this binder, the Obsidian 10. So the occupation cards, those are the counterparts to the celebration cards. By occupying battleground sites, you make the opponent lose cards. And this actually might be one of my favorite cards conceptually in the game. So if you have somebody in a battle, you can place out of play from hand a unique copy of that character. So let's say you have Vader in battle, and you can place out of play a copy of Vader from hand. You can reduce attrition by Vader's forfeit value. So that might save Vader for a turn or two, but then once you have to lose Vader from table, then you can't deploy any more Vaders because then he's out of play. So just the idea of, the light side version I think is called Nick of Time. So it's, they used the last of their 9 lives, so to speak, and thought that represented that their luck's going to run out after you use this card, but thought that was a pretty cool representation of something that's kind of realistic in some ways. Another company card that allows you to deploy cards or Star Destroyers from your reserve deck. I have a Legacy blowing up Alderaan deck that uses that card instead of the virtual version. But yeah, a lot of effects and interrupts that are still in use today in Special Edition. Adding battle destiny with bounty hunters, getting Dejaric characters. I love this card. With any starship weapon, making somebody power 0, even home 1. Like a power 15 home 1 that's got 2 pilots on it. They can still add a lot of battle destinies on you, but it's not so good. And if you've seen some of my decks before, Tauntaun Skull was probably in there, being able to put a Destiny 6 character out of play to add their power, their destiny number to your power. Having Coruscant sites was pretty neat. I think before this, I mean, sure, I saw it in the movies, but the only time you could do anything on Coruscant other than this that I could remember back then was in Dark Forces, so I always liked that level. Being Kyle Katarn, sneaking onto the Imperial home planet and either trying to download something or put something in a computer and then download it, I'm not really sure, but you got to fight Boba Fett at the end, and I always thought he was pretty tough and pretty cool to fight. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder what card goes there, because, I might have to look that up, but maybe you can comment if you know alphabetically what comes after Death Star Assault Squadron before OS 271 and Obsidian 1. So I need to put a card back in here, because occasionally I would take these out and put them in decks, but after a while I said, I'll just take those from my, from beat-up cards that didn't quite make it for my store, and have the full card sets in the binder so I can look at them. So, nothing's coming to mind off the top of my head. So that'll be a fun mystery to solve. Dune Walkers never really appeared in the movies as far as I know, but I don't know, just the idea of them taking Decipher taking the the vehicles that we saw in Hoth, the snowy planet, and then turning into desert vehicles, just because they could, was pretty neat. And now into Endor. And even though Special Edition was Star Wars CCG 2.0, for whatever reason, and maybe it's just kind of a price and demand thing, or maybe it's just when I started to de-emphasize playing the game a little bit, I got really into Axis and Allies, but Endor's like, for me, Star Wars 2.0 in terms of, I always consider them just to be like, I mean, Endor's 1999, Special Edition's 1998, but to me they seem like these are the new cards, and these and before are the old cards, for whatever reason. But a lot of neat light side cards in here. A new Chewie, a new Leia, a new Han, Crix Madine, another character that appeared in Dark Forces. You have to rescue him in one of the levels. That's one card I wish Decipher would have gotten around to making when they did the Shadows of the Empire cards to also put in Dark Forces cards. That would have been really cool. A new 3PO and a bunch of pretty good Ewoks, and a lot of these Commandos. It's crazy how prices for Endor have gone up lately. I mean, a lot of the Commandos are upwards of $10 each. Even the ones that, yeah, they're pretty much only used in one deck. But it is a pretty fun deck trying to blow up the Endor shield. And there's the objective that gets you on the path of destroying the Endor shield. Chewie's ATST. A little bit hard to deploy, but definitely a cool idea, making opponent's ATSTs less effective. And a sniper rifle for the light side. So there's a couple cards that allow this to fire during the control phase, which is pretty neat, but a little bit hard to do, but just the idea of having light side being able to, I don't know, snipe Darth Vader from an adjacent site before he can do anything sounds a lot of fun. Biker Scouts are cool. I do have a Biker Scout deck on speeder bikes, but I should probably ditch the speeder bikes. It seems like they're better without them, unfortunately. Just with the objective allowing you to retrieve them, and them having their gun with the interrupt compact firepower here. That, yeah, if they fire the blaster, you draw Destiny. 1 to 3, the target can't use weapons. If it's 4+, target's power and forfeit 0. So as long as you don't draw 0, that can actually be pretty devastating. Especially against a card like Qui-Gon Jinn with a lightsaber. So either he can't use his lightsaber, and now you got a power 6 character who's got high forfeit, but isn't firing a weapon and is immune to attrition, or he's power and forfeit 0, and you might be able to blow him out. Of course, he's rarely alone. Pardon the sniffles. I got a bit of a cold today. That's why I stayed home and decided to make these videos. Now we're getting to the walkers. So I like how it worked out that all 3 of these could be on the same page along with their... all 6 of these could be on the same page along with their cannon. And still looking for that perfect ATST deck that'll let me use all 6 of them. I think I can make a decent deck with all the unique Star Destroyers, but this one's still in the works. Be fun to have them all down on different Endor sites, moving, reacting to cover each other. Now the Endor foils. So they definitely picked 4 good ones for the light side, and plus some that looked kind of interesting, but I don't know what it was like back when Endor was out, but today if I open a Endor pack and get a Ewok Village foil or a landing platform foil, to me that's about as low as it gets in terms of the packs. At least Squadron Stormtrooper is kind of cool, but yeah, those are a bit of a bummer, but any of the other foils seem pretty neat. And that's one of the strange things about Endor. I mean, for the dark side, the best cards are vehicles, so in terms of characters, Commander Igar is probably the best character for the dark side, and that's he's not terribly impressive, so while you got a Han, Chewie, Crix Madine, Mon Mothma, 3PO, and Leia, if I haven't already said Leia. For Darkseid, you don't really have much. Admiral's Orders for Death Star 2. So give some bonuses to you and your opponent sometimes. And there's Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight. One of the first ultra rare cards. Came in the same set as the Dark Side one. I'm sure a lot of you know. We'll see him in a bit. But this is actually not the one I opened in a pack recently. Or I don't even know how recent that was. One of my videos quite a while ago where I said, I don't want to stop on a Green Squadron A-Wings, open one more pack and got a Luke. If you haven't seen that video, even though I just spoiled it, it's still fun to watch. So this one's a common, but it's actually one of my favorite cards from the set. Being able to reveal a pilot from your hand to go get their starship or vice versa. So getting those matching pilot combos going. Even if it's not great in a lot of decks, it's just a lot of fun to have people flying around in their own ships. And some will have pretty good bonuses, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Tough to pull off, but a cool idea, being able to turn Vader without the game ending. I mean, I do like the objectives, but it is a bit of a bummer that once you turn Vader, or once the Dark Side one turns Luke, then that totally depletes your opponent's life force and you win. So, I mean, yeah, obviously it's nice to win, but I feel like it'd be a lot more fun to actually use Luke or use Vader against your opponent. And very cool page here, Death Star 2. So many good starships you could get. I mean, in the same pack you could get, a Mon Calamari cruiser and a decent uncommon Y-Wing. Or Luminous, one of the cards that I thought was a rare for a while, is actually an uncommon. So, Death Star 2, lots of good packs possible. Of course, lots of not so good ones as well, but it's not like Reflections 2 where it's super high risk, where you could get, I've already complained about Reflections 2 enough in enough of my videos, but yeah, it's very risky to open Reflections 2 packs. But if you do get one of those packs that has an ultra rare in it, that's awesome. Dark Side now, so they got 5 Admiral's Orders, basically mirror images of the light side ones. In fact, they may be exact mirror images. I've never really taken that close of a look. Baron Fell. I'm actually not sure where he first started showing up in Star Wars. Maybe the X-Wing books, but they made he's probably I can't think of a better TIE pilot other than maybe Vader than him in the game. Adding a Battle Destiny and then adding also 1 to your total Battle Destiny. Sometimes more than 1 to your total Battle Destiny if you have other TIE interceptors at the same site. Lord Vader, who's actually not an ultra rare, but seems like an ultra rare in terms of the demand for him. And I sort of skipped over the Emperor, but there's the Emperor, the other actual ultra rare from the set. Destiny 6 kind of has some restrictive game text, but yeah, just a neat card, and definitely a card that a lot of people have been waiting for since the beginning of the game, because even in Premiere there were references to the Emperor, like in the card Demotion, where you can cancel an Imperial's game text. I'm pretty sure he's immune to that, if memory serves, and it doesn't always. Being able to make the Death Star 2 move around and do damage at systems. And a couple ships here. Probably one of my favorite Dark Side objectives, not so much for turning Luke, just for what it sets up and what you're able to do with the Emperor adding Battle Destinies just while sitting on his throne. And anytime you got a page that's all starships, that's a winner in my book. So, the second version of the Executor got put out. Lots of Star Destroyers, lots of unique ties that are actually pretty good instead of just the junky ties from Premiere. Now here I kind of had some space to fill since Death Star 2 had exclusive rares, XR in the rarity guides. I had extra cards left over, so extra spots left over, I should say. And I guess I did that with the light side too, but I just filled that in with more notable Death Star 2 starter deck reprints. So yeah, these are all Endor cards, but I had 17 slots to fill, so some of my favorite cards that were in the Endor cards that were reprinted with a 2000 copyright date. I did the same thing for Light and Dark Side. And then at the end of this binder, I do have the Anthology card. So first Anthology, and I sort of broke the mold here and did Dark Side first, then Light Side. Where usually when I sort my cards, I do Light Side first. I haven't decided if I'm going to fix that yet. Not that it's broken. Third Anthology with very cool R2-D2 in red 5 card. Jabba's Palace sealed deck. Makes me wonder my official tournament sealed deck is. Is that in here too? Okay. These might have gotten out of order at one point when I was taking pages out and put to get cards into decks, but I might put that back in order. The 2-player game, Rebel Leader Packs. I always loved official tournament sealed decks. Even though these aren't the best ships, they're decent, especially in sealed deck play, because they have ability of 2. Except for the Z95. And this is a very cool page. So 6 main characters and some secondary characters, all with permanent weapons. I remember when I got, it might not be this exact Luke, but when I got my first Enhanced Premier Pack, that's one of these cards, Luke was on the front, and 4 booster packs, and I got a Darth Vader white border in there, so that was my first real Vader, so that was definitely a very good day. I don't know what it cost back then, maybe $15, but $15 for a Luke, that's pretty good. That's good in pretty much any deck I was building at the time, and a Vader. That was definitely a lot of fun. And that was at a Wizards of the Coast store in a mall, so I don't know if either of those exist anymore. Some of these are a little loose, and they get that way especially when I move them from my shelf out here into my living room. But yeah, a lot of these enhanced cards are really cool and really good, partly because they came from sets that weren't so hot, so it was a good way to sell packs from those sets by bundling 1 to 3 premium cards with a bunch of packs from those sets. Mara, definitely the chase card from any of the premium cards, really, and she still is a big deal. And then closing up with the Jedi Pack. So these were free, gave you technically playable versions of main character cards since the mains were so hard to get. You could get a Han, Leia, Tarkin, and Mahdi, and then all those fun cards that allow them to get battle destinies when fighting together. You can actually use them even though they don't have any game text. So a couple of these, well actually 3 of them have been virtualized, so they're now playable cards. Mahdi's still waiting on a virtualization, but yeah, it's good that the PC is getting these relatively easy to find cards and playability. And then, not really a playable card, but helpful to know where things stand and helpful for tracking where the Death Star is. And that looks to be it for the original trilogy sets. My next binder is the Reflection sets and the Episode 1 sets. So the short printed stuff, relatively short printed stuff, and a lot of the more expensive, interesting cards. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Hope you are too. Thanks for watching.